Welcome to Clyde Samvada, brought to you by the Hindu Temple of Scotland. In the series that we have been talking about the different main Shiva temples, if you have been following us, you would have heard the episodes on Chidambaram, and then we also did an episode on Thiruvanaikaval. And in that series of covering the Pancha Bhoota Sthalams of Shiva, today we are going to talk about Thiruvanaikaval, and Sandhya is again with us, who helped enlighten us on the previous two episodes to continue on that series talking about the Shiva Pancha Bhoota Sthalams. So welcome again Sandhya ji to the Clyde Samvada.
Yeah, thank you very much for yet another opportunity to talk about another Shiva temple today. Today we are going to talk about Thiruvanaikaval, as you have mentioned, and Thiruvanaikaval, it represents the element of water.
Yes.
Among the five.
So we did Chidambaram, which was the Akasha Sthalam,
yes.
And then we did Thiruvanamalai, which was the Agni Sthalam, and Thiruvanaikaval is the water element place. So can you kind of maybe start by telling us where Thiruvanaikaval is and the sort of background to this?
So Thiruvanaikaval, it is actually a small urban town located in the Trichy district. It is very close to Sri Ranganatha Swami Temple. Actually, the river Kaveri, when it flows, there is a point called Mukkumbu where it splits into two. The northern stream, the northern tributary becomes Kollidam, and the southern tributary continues on as Kaveri River. So this creates a land mass in between and forms an island, and this island is Sri Rangam Island. Okay. So Sri Ranganatha Swami Temple is located in Sri Rangam Island, as we all know.
Yes.
And this temple is located about 2 to 3 kilometers away from...
So Trichy is the location. So Chidambaram was in Chidambaram, Thiruvanamalai, Thiruvanaikaval is close to Trichy.
Yeah. From Trichy, yes. So this is the location. You can hardly... you can walk from Ranganatha Swami Temple to Thiruvanaikaval Temple in about 15-20 minutes.
So and what is the legend behind this water place, or why did it become the place of water?
Yes, actually the main deity in this temple is Sri Jambukeswarar, Shiva as Sri Jambukeswarar and Parvati as Sri Akhilandeshwari Daya. The Moolavar is Sri Jambukeswarar and Utsavar is Sri Chandrasekharar Somaskandar. So the legend behind why this is water temple, Shiva representing water, is Parvati. Here comes the story of Parvati and Shiva again. Parvati, being her cheeky self, once she mocked Shiva when he was doing penance for the betterment of humanity, and Shiva got agitated and he condemned Parvati to go to earth and perform penance. Parvati came down from Mount Kailash and down to earth in the form of Sri Akhilandeshwari, and she decided on a place. She actually took a place near the banks of river Kaveri to be the present day Thiruvanaikaval, and she, using the mystic powers she had, she made lingam out of water of Kaveri river, and that became Appu Lingam, that is the water lingam, and that's how this
it became a place of water. So Akhilandeshwari, Parvati in Akhilandeshwari's form created Shivalinga out of water, and that's why it's called the water place.
Water place.
Super interesting.
Yes. And there is one another legend. I'm going to tell you two other legends as well. They are going to be really interesting. One legend is for why this name Thiruvanaikaval, and the third legend is how the name Jambukeswarar came about. Okay. So Thiruvanaikaval. So we might have heard about Shiva Ganas. These Shiva Ganas are people who live alongside Shiva, with Shiva, acting as protectors for Lord Shiva. Actually, Shiva lives with his consort Parvati, Kartikeya, Vinayakar and Nandi as well. But these Shiva Ganas are not human. They are from the other world. They are like these eccentric beings, as we can call them. They have loud voice and eccentric behavior. They don't heed to social norms and stuff. So they are ardent protectors of Lord Shiva. Only Shiva can understand these Shiva Ganas, and only Shiva Ganas will only listen to Shiva. So one very famous, very popular Shiva Gana that we know is Bhairava. He is installed as a god in every Shiva temple we see. Yes. And Nandi takes the second place, and the third one is Veerabhadra. So among these Shiva Ganas, there were two Shiva Ganas. One's name was Malyavan and other one was Pushpadanta. These two Shiva Ganas always used to quarrel with each other. They used to fight for every petty thing. And during one of those fights, Malyavan cursed Pushpadanta to become an elephant, and Pushpadanta cursed Malyavan to become a spider.
Okay.
So they cannot continue on Mount Kailash. They have to be on earth to be living as spider and elephant, right? So they descended down to earth and they reached Thiruvanaikaval. Okay. And they see the lingam, Appulingam, and they started doing puja for Appulingam as elephant and spider. Elephant every day to fetch water from the Kaveri river to perform abhishekam on the linga, whereas the spider will build a cobweb over Shiva in order to protect the linga from sunlight, falling leaves and dust and whatnot. So this went on for ages, but elephant every day when it comes to perform the abhisheka, it will look at the spider web and thinking that to be dust, it will just destroy the spider web. Okay. And spider used to adjust. Initially, it used to rebuild the web every day, but at one point it got really frustrated and said, he did not even talk to the elephant. He actually got inside the trunk of the elephant with the intention of harming him. In the process, he killed the elephant and he killed himself as well. Okay. Seeing the devotion of the spider and the elephant, Shiva gave darshan to both of them to give moksha. Okay. But the spider, having killed the elephant in this current birth, he has to pay for his karma, right? So he was to be reborn. Okay. So he was reborn as King Kochenga Choran. Okay. There is an interesting, actually wild legend behind the birth of Kochenga Choran. Mm-hmm. There is this Chola king called Shubhadevan and his wife Kamalavati. They were ardent devotees of Lord Thillai Nadaraja Chidambaram. Yes. They did not have any heir to take over the kingdom. So Kamalavati prayed fervently to Lord Nadaraja of Chidambaram to give her a son. So the spider entered the womb of Kamalavati as to be born as a son for Kamalavati. And on the day of the labor, she overheard the astrologers saying if the child was born at least a narigai later, that is, not one narigai is 24 minutes. 24 minutes later, this child is going to rule over a vast empire. Okay. But Kamalavati wanted the child to be born only narigai later. She did not,
because she overheard the astrologer.
Yes. Okay. Kamalavati, listening to this, she wanted to give birth to the baby only narigai later. She ordered people to keep her legs high up so that the baby will not be born. Okay. And after a narigai, the baby was born, and because the baby was in the womb for a long time, its eyes were red. Oh. That's why the name Kochengannan. Chengannan is red eyes. Oh, yeah, okay. Kochengannan came about. So Kochenga Choran, he is actually credited with building this Jambukeswarar temple 1800 years ago. That was the initial structure that he built. It went over a lot of renovations over the years. So Kochenga Choran, in addition to building this Jambukeswarar temple, he went on to build about 70 great Shiva temples around Tamil Nadu. And this is actually referenced in Nalayara Divya Prabandham. And one interesting thing is remembering his enmity with the elephant in the previous birth, when he was constructing the entrance of this Sanctum Sanctorum in Jambukeswarar temple, he made it really, really short that even a small elephant cannot enter. Oh, okay. The entrance is only about 4 feet tall, 4 feet high, and the width is only about 2.5 feet. Okay. So it is very short to...
because he was like sort of rebirth from the spider, he kind of maybe had the sort of remembrance of that. Okay.
Yeah, so why this name why this name Thiruvanaikaval? Thiru-aanai-ka. Thiru is holy, Aanai is elephant, and Ka is Kad, a holy place where elephant had offered worship to Lord Shiva. This Ka is Kad, right? It was a forest earlier on. Later on, it evolved into Thiruvanaikaval, Thiruvanaikoil, and all that.
Yeah, Kavu is like Kavu in like a lot of Kerala regions, and that's like a jungle temple inside a jungle typically. So I think there is that reference to that also. Kavu.
Yes.
There's probably a linkage there as well. Yeah, forest and temple inside the forest very often.
Yeah.
So okay, super interesting. So that's the legend to this, and it's interesting. Like the spider elephant story and all of that is super interesting. And like anything interesting in terms of the architecture. I mean, like one you mentioned that the entrance itself is like smaller.
Yeah.
Any other similar architectural specialities?
Yeah. I mean, I actually missed on one more legend about the name of the god.
Jambukeswarar.
Jambukeswarar. how did this name come about? Actually, there was a sage called Jambu Muni who lived ages ago, and he was an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, as we know. And one day he offered this ven navel fruit, this white, navel param in Tamil, which is the jamun fruit. The ven navel param is white jamun fruit to Lord Shiva. Shiva ate the jamun fruit and he spat out the seed. Believing the seed to be holy, he consumed the seed, and a jambu tree grew on top of his head. And Jambu Muni requested Shiva to take abode under this jambu tree, and Shiva accepted the request, and he took abode under the jambu tree. That's how the name Jambukeswarar came about.
Okay. And is there is the Sthala Vriksham Jambu tree?
Yes, it is the Sthala Vriksham of this temple, and it is believed that it's been there for about more than 100 years, and
super.
Yeah, it's still thriving. Yeah.
Super. And going back to the architecture part, so one is the Jambu tree being the Sthala Vriksham, entrance being smaller. Anything else, the specialities of the temple architecture?
The entrance is only small, but the temple
once
itself
you inside, it's becoming. I've been there, I think, once.
Yeah, but the temple is quite more massive. It is about 18 acres. It covers 18 acres, and it has 5 prakaras. The outermost prakara is called Vibhuti Prakara. Vibhuti Prakara, and the outer wall surrounding this Vibhuti Prakara is called Tirunitru Madal. Tirunir is again Vibhuti, right? There is a story for why this is Vibhuti Prahara and why this is Tirunitru Madal. Actually, when this Madal was getting constructed, it was quite a massive Madal that was getting constructed. The workers used to get daily wages from Shiva himself. Shiva appeared in the form of Siddha Purusha, and he offered Tirunir, that is Vibhuti, in the form of daily wage. And depending on the amount of work, the hard work put in by each of these workers, this Tirunir changed into money, and some say that it even changed to gold and all that. So this is also the place where Shiva gave darshan to spider and the elephant. The outermost, the 5th present. In the 4th prakara, we have Sri Akhilandeshwari shrine. And in the 3rd prakara, we have a coconut grove and a beautiful temple tank, and the 2 gopurams. And in the 2nd prakara, there are several small shrines, and the innermost prakara is the sanctum sanctorum. It has got the Mukha Mandapa. The Mukha Mandapa is a 4-pillared wall where we can see the bronze Nandi. So this from this Mukha Mandapa, you can see 3 steps descending down to the inner sanctum sanctorum. Yeah, the inner sanctum sanctorum is divided into Artha Mandapa and Garbhagraha, and you can see Sri Jambukeswarar in the Garbhagraha. And as you descend down, you can see a stone window through which you can see the Lord himself. The entrance is not from the front; it is from the side. So you can see as you enter towards the side. And there are 9 apertures, 9 holes in the wall through which you can see the Sthala Puranam. There is very beautiful carvings of the Sthala Puranam where Jambu Muni is standing and the tree from the top. Growing, and Parvati elephant offering puja to Lord Shiva and all that.
Super. So and it is fascinating in terms of the Chola dynasty and their contribution to Shiva temples is probably unmatched, right? The Brihadeshwara with Raja Chola and this, the whole Chola dynasty contribution to Shiva traditions is just unmatched. I mean, their devotion is unmatched.
Such architectural excellence, you would say. Expansive halls, towering walls.
This 5 towers.
It's so beautiful. And one interesting tidbit here is there is a perpetual stream of water flowing underground inside Garbhagraha, and no one knows the origin of this source of water, but it keeps getting
it's like the water place, right?
Yes. The authorities tried to pump out the water, but the water kept filling up, and even during all seasons, it keeps just flowing there. That is one thing, and another thing why this is a lot of water is because there is a stream of water coming out of the linga himself. Sometimes when the priests remove the clothes, the panjakacham and the angavastram from the linga, they see that it's totally soaked despite summer season. It is quite interesting that way. And as we spoke about Cholas, it is said that even Sri Ranganatha Swami temple and this temple were constructed around the same period by Cholas. But the temple as such went through a lot of renovations here comes Hoysala and Vijayanagar Empire.
Oh, they had contributions here. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Even though they were Karnataka, they still had contributions here. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they have actually contributed to a lot of renovations across several temples across South India. They were demolished by the northern invasions, right? So Vijayanagar, I mean, their sculptural excellence is amazing. Yeah. See the 1,000-pillared hall here is it's an epitome of Vijayanagar architecture.
Okay.
So it has got 1,000 pillars with broad pillars aligned in a linear structure, and it is amazing. There are so many carvings in these pillars such that you can see Anemugan, there is Vinayakar, Murugan, Shiva in the form of Somaskandar, Chandrasekhar, Kala Bhairavar, and Murugan in the form of Arumugar, and Parvati as Shasta, Mahishasuramardini, Durga. It is so good, and the entrance to this 1,000-pillared hall is made like a chariot carved out of stone. It has got huge stone wheels and horses drawing this carriage. And when we speak about this renovation, we have to talk about renovation done quite recently by Chidambara Chettiar from Kanadukattan, Karaikudi district. So he contributed significantly towards the renovation of this temple in early 1900s, and he performed even Mahakumbhabhishekam in 1908. Yeah, the temple was electrified. The electricity came to the temple in 1935, I believe.
Okay, interesting. And the unending source of water, we had done a previous episode where we were talking about Jwala Devi in the state of Haryana, and there again it was like unending source of fire, as in there's unending source of light from the temple, and that source of light is what is worshipped as Devi in that. And then Kamakya temple, there's again an unending source of water, Assam, unending source of water. So there's this probably geology to it, and there is a lot of spiritual faith connection to it as well. I mean, so it's like the resonance of this across different regions, but fundamental element of 5 elements of nature, linking to all of it is just a fascinating story. But just coming back to Thiruvanaikaval, we talked about the legend, we talked about the architecture, and are there main festivals? What are the story to Akhilandeshwari Devi?
I mean, I have to necessarily talk about Akhilandeshwari. She plays equal importance in this temple as Lord Shiva, because she was the one who actually made Lord Shiva out of water first. So Akhilandeshwari here, she is actually, her shrine is opposite to Lord Shiva. Unlike many other Shiva temples, she is not present next to Lord Shiva. This is because this is an Upatesha Sthalam, where Shiva appeared in front of her to offer Upatesha, to offer Shiva Jnana. So he is the teacher and she is the disciple. So they are standing opposite to each other, with Akhilandeshwari facing the east and Shiva facing the west.
Okay, so not like side by side. They're
side by side. That's why there is no divine wedding ceremony, no Tirukalyana Vaibhavam that happens in this temple.
Okay.
So that is an interesting thing. And another one is Akhilandeshwari herself. She presents herself in 3 different forms through the course of the day. In the morning she is Lakshmi, and in the afternoon, the noon, she is Parvati or Durga, and in the evening she is Saraswati. That's why when you visit her in the temple in the evening, she will be draped in white sari.
Okay, so it's like multiple representations of the Devi at the same temple.
Yeah, the same temple. Yeah, and one other thing is the noon puja, Uchikala puja. It is considered to be very interesting here because the priest himself comes out of Akhilandeshwari shrine at noon, draped in sari, wearing a crown and flowers, carrying water and flowers, and goes inside Jambukeswarar shrine to perform puja for Shiva. It is as if Akhilandeshwari herself descends down every noon to
that is super interesting. Okay.
Perform the puja.
That doesn't happen very often, right? Because you always have the priest typically following the same dress code across the day. This is very, very, very interesting. Okay, I mean, it's probably the only temple where this happens, but I don't know. Yeah.
And there is the significance of Adi Shankaracharya in the when we talk about Akhilandeshwari here. Akhilandeshwari, when she was initially present in this temple, she was very fierce and very angry, and she was such a wrathful deity that nobody can worship from inside the sanctum. So they have to stand outside the temple to really pray for her. So Adi Shankaracharya once visited the temple. He wanted to bring down her anger. So he wanted to install a Sri Chakram. Sri Chakram might bring down her anger, but this is a place of water. He cannot install a Sri Chakram where this is the place of water, right? So he actually made Sri Chakram and Shiva Chakram and put it as earrings for Akhilandeshwari. So in 1 year she wears Sri Chakram, and in the another year she wears Shiva Chakram. This is Tadangam.
Okay, interesting.
So after wearing these 2 earrings, her anger came down a bit, but she was not fully fully at peace. So what did he do? He installed Prasanna Vinayagar, her own son, opposite her shrine, and he installed Murugan behind her. So having her sons around, that totally brought down her anger, and now she is in her peace.
Oh, that is super interesting. Okay. And any sort of closing tidbits that you have, either in terms of festivals or other current events?
There are quite a few things that happen in this temple, as in there is Annabhishekam that happens, and they offer Annadanam almost every day. Every day, I think, yes. And there is Sahasra Lingam in this temple, where the Lingam himself has got 1,000
small lingams in it.
And because Sri Ranganathan is living very close by, and he has a sister Akhilandeshwari just a few kilometers away from him, he sends gifts to Akhilandeshwari during every Margari. And Chitra Purnami is also celebrated very lavishly in this temple. And this year, I think it falls on April 12th. So if anyone happens to be around Trichy at that time, it is a good opportunity to go and visit the temple. And there is a Goshala in the temple, which is where they maintain several hundred cows. And there is one another small interesting legend again. There was this Chola king who ruled over this kingdom with the capital Urayur. Once he was taking bath in the Kaveri river, and his Muttu Aram, the pearl necklace that he was wearing, it just got lost in the flowing river. So he searched for it, he couldn't find it. So he prayed to Lord, when you find it, let it be yours, please accept it. So on the same day, a priest who was getting water for the temple, he just fetched the water in his kudam, in his pot, and the Muttaram got into this pot, and when he performed Abhishekam on the Moolavar, it fell on the neck of the Moolavar himself. So this is actually referenced in Periya Puranam.
That's super interesting. Like it's wonderful that you kind of have done like so much of in-depth research into Thiruvanaikaval.
It's so interesting,
And it's like also very interesting to see the connections, right? So here it's the connection between Ranganatha Swami and Shiva. And we in previous episodes we talked about Ranganatha Swami in our podcast also. And then I think like in a future episode we should talk about Kanchipuram. And Kanchipuram again has very close intersections between the Ekambareshwar temple on one side, and like 1 kilometer away you have the Perumal temple, right? So the same place having these very, very strong one Divya Desham and the Pancha Bhoota Sthalam literally down the street are extremely interesting stories that we should definitely follow upon in future episodes. So
because Shiva is manifested as water, people come here to pray, to absolve themselves of all the past sins. It is the purification to offer purification of soul. And Ambal presents herself as Parvati and Lakshmi and also Saraswati, and she herself was a student to Shiva, getting the Upadesha, right? So people come here for wisdom and knowledge, and prosperity as well as from Lakshmi, and also Durga for courage.
Yeah, because they are all 3 days, 3 times of the day they are taking all the different forms. So you kind of are worshipping towards all the 3 deities on the same.
That's why I think this is like a well-rounded temple where you can just visit for
everything in one go. Yeah. Super. Thank you so much, Sandhya ji, and we look forward to having more of your insights in future episodes.
Sure, thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.